I'm telling you what, we have had a very goofy week. And,
Yeah,
and the funny thing is, I
super
send out an
goofy.
email, typically on Thursdays or sometimes Friday mornings, to the participants in the Friday Follies to give them some idea of what I want to talk about. Well, of course, I wake up this morning and there's a lot more dirt about the Michael Cohen's plea.
Oh, yeah.
And what this means for Donald Trump and where this is all going. And of course, the Trump people are suggesting, well, we did a little business with Russia, but there's no
what's the big
collusion. There's no
deal?
collusion.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. How long can they keep up this charade?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it just goes to show that the essential revelation of Michael Wolff's book, which, has already been forgotten and trashed,
Right, exactly.
ground into the
That
dirt, was true, which is that
100 years
he
ago.
never intended to win. He always intended to lose. That he alone was probably the most shocked by the fact that he actually pulled this off. And
Well, imagine
it's
that,
the
appealing
classic.
to people's
it is
worst instincts and making them afraid and racist. Yeah, that never
Exactly.
drives people to the polls.
Well,
I mean,
but-
come
but-
on.
but
he wanted,
also-
he had to want to win
This
because
isn't-
otherwise he could have.
This is an O. Henry worthy twist here. I mean, if he had lost, we'd
Sophie's
still
Choice, my
remember
favorite.
him, but he would be,
He'd
but
have
nobody
some
would be
big
investigating
he'd have
his.
some big media.
Yeah, he'd have his
conglomerate, and he'd have
Trump
a tower.
TV.
He'd have a tower in Moscow.
He'd have a town, the tower in Moscow. It really is. It's like, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it.
Well, he did wish for a tower in Moscow, quite apparently. I mean, he really, really wanted that.
Yeah. Why? I don't understand.
Well, he wants. See, the thing is that his business
Hookers
is
and
based
blow,
on
man. Hookers and blow. Hey, come on.
His business
Isn't that
is
the
not-
answer for any one of those types of people?
his business is based solely on franchising his name.
Yeah,
and his
exactly.
brand, and so that's why he wants one in Moscow. He wants one in Belgrade. He wants one wherever anybody wants to pay him, $5 or $10 million a year or whatever or more.
And there are a lot of dirty oligarchs who need to launder their money through
And
him.
they're- yes.
And I think that's probably what they were doing.
Hey, condos,
So-
cheap condos.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
or
you-
very expensive
I do have to
condos.
give some
Yes,
context to the hookers and blow comment,
Okay,
right?
good.
Just so you understand where this comes from.
What's the hookers and blow comment?
Well, that's what I just said. But no, there was a guy on CNN. I was watching CNN, and the lotto was up to what, $500 bazillion or something.
Yeah.
And they asked this guy on camera live, and
Yeah.
he's buying his tickets, and
Yeah, what
so
do you-
what are you going to do? He's like, hookers and blow, man, hookers and blow. And I was just like, and Don Lemon's on CNN. He's like, oh well, a couple of people were at least chuckling.
CNN to disapprove
I was
of that.
laughing.
Yeah,
I was
of
laughing.
course.
That's
It's a very
because
funny.
Don Lemon is
Yeah.
much to laugh at all
Yeah,
the time anyway.
always.
But so sorry about that. I
No,
interrupted
it's
you,
okay.
Sean.
Hookers and below.
Hookers and blow.
Right. So.
That's going to be the new show on New Radio Media.
That'll have.
Your
that'll
host,
have a
Donald
good
Trump.
chance.
These are the new lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Oh wow.
Go ahead, sir.
No, I don't. I'm just he can have that be his show, hookers and blow, and instead of you're fired, he can say, "Blow me."
Oh my God.
It's like that'll be the
That's the new
clever
catchphrase.
expression.
We are not broadcasting. We are podcasting here, which is
Absolutely,
why
we
we
are.
can get
And
away
it's the
with saying
Friday
that
Follies.
stuff.
Guess what? Children, if your
Can't
parents are
say
listening
blow
to
me
this,
on
they
the
have
Friday
exceptional
Follies,
taste.
then
Yeah, well, the kids probably say it anyway, so that's the whole
Sure.
thing. Out of the
course.
mouths of babes. So, but anyway, you take a look at this. It certainly seems as if the circle's getting a little bit
It's very,
bit
I
tighter.
think yesterday was a big move.
It was.
Yeah, I think Mueller is quietly getting ready to lay down a royal flush here. I mean, I just feel like,
Well, if he's now officially person number one.
no,
Yes,
this
he's
is
an
individual number one.
Individual
yeah,
number
individual
one?
number one, yeah. And I think individual number one junior should be worried. I think baked potato girl should be worried. I think they should all be worried. If your name is Trump, you ought to be worried. So.
Baked potato girl.
Oh,
Who's
it's,
baked potato?
that's based on it's an old photograph of her. I think it's actually from
Who,
right
Ivanka?
around from right around the time of the election where she was wearing this metallic.
She looked like a baked
metallic,
potato.
yeah, metallic gown with
Okay.
with
It's a
her
baking
husband.
potato.
Exactly, and so she
Nice.
looked like it's. I saw her on Twitter called Baked Potato Girl. and it's
Well,
kinda
okay,
stuck.
I get that now.
Yeah,
All right,
Ivanka.
now
Yes.
it makes sense.
Ivanka.
Baked potato girl.
Right. Ivanka.
But what you said about yesterday and everything that was revealed yesterday, as it went later in the evening, and I started watching MSNBC late, and then had to watch. I was like, it's so many shoes have dropped just
I know.
yesterday.
Yeah.
And
a whole Payless full of shoes has dropped. I know.
yeah.
I look at this though, and clearly he's starting to freak out. I don't know if you saw his tweet this morning about all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I did.
It was
He
great.
lightly looked at
Yeah, well, he says, "Oh, I get it. I'm a very good developer, happily living my life when I see our country going in the wrong direction." And then in parentheses, to put it mildly, against all odds, I decide to run for president and continue to run my business. Very legal and very cool.
Very
That was
cool,
the part.
yeah.
Talked about it on the campaign trail. Lightly looked at doing a building somewhere in Russia. Put up zero money, zero guarantees, and didn't do the project. Witch hunt.
Yeah.
You have to have
Witch
the
hunt.
obligatory witch hunt at the
Witch
end.
hunt.
But
Right.
that's not what Cohen was suggesting.
No.
And so at minimum,
Well,
you know,
and
he was
at
just
one
lying
point,
to people
Cohen
on a
actually
campaign
didn't
trail.
Cohen actually say, "Our dude might be president of the United States" or something? I mean,
Oh, I'm
he
sure he was.
laid it out in explicit, like, you know, what you're going to be working with the future president of the United States here.
And not just that, though. I mean, the other thing, too, was the revelations over the last couple of days of the fact that the changes in the Republican platform at the convention about their
Sure.
approach to Russia
Yeah.
definitely
That came
related
from
to this
Manafort.
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
exactly. That was Manafort's
That's
greasy finger in
Manafort.
there.
Manafort
Yeah.
still working for his clients in
Right,
Ukraine.
exactly.
Absolutely, but at the same time, that suggests to me like there may have been some sort of discussions, quid pro quo kind of discussions about do this for us, scratch our back,
Right.
we'll scratch yours. It's all about the Magnitsky Act of getting these oligarchs their money back.
Right.
And that's all this is about. And,
Right.
if nobody can see this, I don't understand. I mean, it seems to me that this is getting pretty darn obvious at this point.
It is. Well, and of course the bigger question is, what is Congress going to do about it? Probably nothing. At least the Republicans in Congress are not going to do anything. What is the base going to say about it? Nothing. You know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I weep for my country.
I weep daily myself, morning, noon, and night.
No, that's just your fleeting youth that you're weeping over
Oh,
there.
no, I'm not sure about that, but
I
well,
do
that
the
actually
same
makes
thing.
a little bit of sense.
My knees hurt all the time now, so yeah.
Well, you know, thinking about Trump, though, all right, let's go to this one, too, because I think my favorite thing is the climate change report that came out from his own agencies.
Yeah, on
They
Black
put it
Friday,
out.
when everybody's reading the news. Yeah.
Of
But
course
they
are.
they got
Actually,
a lot
you know
of
what?
publicity.
They made a mistake because that is one of the days that people actually get the paper because all the coupons are in there.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I forgot
So
about
people
that.
might have seen it, but the thing is, then they go out of their way to sit there and say that it's not based on science, even though 300 government scientists worked on this.
I know.
His own appointees signed off on releasing the report.
Some of the climate stuff is the scariest thing, and I want to go back to calling.
Dave is here. We're going to let Dave sit down. We're going to have to maybe move a camera or something to give him a seat, but we'll get that figured out. And so anyway, this is what happens when you're late, by the way. That's all right. That's all right. I'm not paying you, so you have an excuse. Go ahead. We were just talking about this. I mean,
It's terrifying. Yeah.
I loved his tweet about it, though.
Really?
That, you know, well, hey, sometimes very intelligent people like me,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
we're just not
Oh, that
believers
one.
in
I
this
don't
kind of
know.
stuff. We can see it, but we're just not believers. And so I'm like, are you kidding me? First of all, I love it. I'm super intelligent. He had to make sure he got that in the tweet, which is my favorite part. And I'm not. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised by the fact that he does that kind of stuff, but it is so annoying.
Well, it's just, and it's ridiculous. It's comical at this point.
It is comical.
I mean, I don't know.
But with all the people saying, well, it was cold this week. That proves
Therefore,
there's no
right.
One of them.
Yeah.
So we need to get rid of. We need to go back to the alternative, the euphemism, which is really what it is. It's not. It is global warming, but people don't believe in that. But global weirding, everyone can relate to that. Global weirding, everyone can believe in that. Oh, that's
weather
right.
is
all
so
these-
weird
that's
now,
it.
yeah.
All this, the wind is stronger. The fires are more often. The hurricanes come every other day. You know, so that they could get into if they knew that was it. It's
Global
not
weirding.
that this
That's a good
warming is causing the climate all over the world to be
Weird.
just much weirder and more severe, and that's so. let's call
Warming
it.
leads to weirding. I like that.
Weird.
Yeah.
Dave
Global-
Rosetto has joined us,
global
by
weirding.
the way.
Hello, everyone.
And he is back once
to be
again.
here.
We appreciate you being here, sir.
Yeah, parking is fun in Detroit.
Well, it's always fun in Detroit. Are you kidding me?
I've never
Hey,
witnessed
say
this.
nice things about Detroit.
I-
That's why
yes.
Emily Gale watches, so I just want to
said
make
it
sure
was
that's on
fun.
there.
Does Emily watch? Hi, Emily.
Yes, she definitely watches every week, so I appreciate
From
that.
Hawaii?
Well, you get a chance. Now, you just walked in the middle of our Trump discussion, and the fact that Cohen has now pled guilty to lying to Congress. There's a lot more to, I think, come out of the Cohen stuff.
Yeah, they pointed-
Manafort might get retried, too.
Oh, yeah.
And Donald's freaking out. He's He's clearly freaking out.
What was Manafort lying about? I mean, he's an old dude. He's already in prison.
Not that old.
69.
Is
Is he worried? Is he banking on the pardon? Is that what he's?
He's like
I
the
think so.
mafia guy. He's like the mafia guy. I'm not really turning. I'm gonna be an inside.
I'm going to
Well,
pretend
he
to turn.
maintained his.
Yeah.
Their lawyers maintained relationship, right?
Yes,
Right.
which
Oh,
they're
that
not
was
supposed to
usually
do.
ends
Yes, when the guy is somebody is indicted. Yeah.
He was maybe just getting inside information for the.
And that's all
but
he was
that's
doing.
the thing.
He was
If
being a
Manafort's
soldier.
lawyers were talking
Yeah.
to Trump's lawyers about what was happening in his questioning with Mueller, and they were briefing them, which could be a huge problem.
Yeah.
So we don't know exactly what's
Well,
going to
Trump
happen
still
there.
has that card to play. He can still say, "Here's your get out of free card." You know, it's a federal crime.
It's also a get out of office free card too.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of thing.
Maybe.
Democrats,
Right.
I don't think
Maybe.
I don't think the Democrats would hesitate to impeach if he did that.
Well, of course the
The Senate's
Democrats
not
would, but
going
what
to.
would the
But
Senate
that-
do?
but
I
that's-
mean,
that's what ma-
impeaching
yeah.
is one thing.
But that's what Manafort is counting on. Not only is he going to get a pardon, but he's out of money. He owes millions of dollars, and there's only one guy who, by being true to Donald Trump, maybe he'll
And
get
he's
some
a
money out of
very
it too.
tall man, and he's very broadly built in the shoulders. And selling his fetal ostrich leather coats are not going to fetch him that much money. Not
Only
even-
so
that's
many
not
people
even
can fit into those
a
things.
day's retainer. Yeah, maybe.
Or
Yeah.
pull it off.
Exactly. Yeah, or pull
Very
it
good,
off.
very
Right.
good.
But that's what's so great about Michael Cohen.
You know, when you walk off the lot.
He's a patriot.
He's the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh my God.
Cooley Law's
Yes,
proudest
Cooley Law's-
product. Yeah.
There you go. Well, look, you know what?
He is kind of a patriot now. He's saying, "I care more about my family
He's
and
a
the country."
dude- he's
Well,
a-
because I
than
think
that
he
jet."
realizes that
douchebag
Trump's not
patriot.
going
Yeah.
to
He's
do
not
a
gonna
damn
bail him
thing
out.
for him.
Yeah, so he's got to throw himself at the mercy of Mueller.
I
That's
mean,
the only
you
thing
figure out
he's
that
got.
you're going to be used, that you've been used all this time, and
Right.
as soon as you have no use, you get thrown away. Like yesterday's newspaper. Then I don't blame him for not sticking by
It's nice to
this
see
guy.
like a white male get used up and thrown away instead of all these foreign women that Trump has used up and thrown away over the years, right?
Wow.
I don't know. I think the best job in America is the first wife of a rich jerk like Donald Trump or somebody else.
The first
So,
one,
so
yes.
Melania
Exactly.
has the best job.
The
No,
trophy
the
wife?
first wife. The
Oh,
first
oh,
wife.
oh.
It's like you have
Ivana.
you
Ivana
marry
Trump.
when you're, although she's awful, but you marry when you're 25.
Compared to what?
It's like boom a kid, boom maybe another kid. At 30, he immediately starts cheating. By 35 or 40, he's starting to feel that itch, and it's like
He's cheating
and,
while
the,
they're
and the
pregnant.
mistress wants a ring.
Wants money, yeah.
And so it's kind of
Yeah,
like,
right.
honey, here's $40 million.
Yeah.
Please go away. I would be like, thank you, God.
Yes.
But you would
really
have
fucking
had, but you would have had to
Well,
put
you're
up
talking
with it for so
about-
long.
Exactly.
You would have had to put
The
up with
guy
so
in the
long. and
condo
have-
in
and have
Aspen,
so
too.
many babies.
But 10 years of
No,
that
you don't
person-
ask. You just say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm taking the
Yeah.
condo." and ask me
Well,
too.
yeah, exactly.
Here's my lawyer.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there you go.
I mean, there was a woman in Indianapolis like that, and I always thought, God, she's sitting out there in her condo, with the mountain views and the crackling fire in the fireplace. It's like that is the life, and she doesn't have to be married to that jerk anymore. So, anyway, that's just me.
Best job in the world.
Yeah,
Donald Trump's
exactly.
ex-wife.
But Ivana continues to defend him, and because she's defending her children, and
Yes.
so that kind of she doesn't get any points for that.
Well, her children have some issues. They've got. I think they have
They got
some
a lot
legal
of issues.
problems.
Yeah, they got a lot of
and,
issues.
They
So.
could be. They could be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, but anyway. She's
well,
got her face inflated too. She has that weird, poofy face look with that awful hairdo. Oh God.
I don't think
I'm sorry. I just
Yes,
these
no,
are the
no,
things
things
I
you
notice.
notice.
See, I couldn't. See, my wife would be telling me,
Yeah.
would be commenting on that. I can't comment.
I
anymore.
know,
judge
you're
women
not
by
allowed
the
to.
contents of their character,
Yeah.
not by their looks.
Well, you see, I have a funny
This
story.
isn't her looks though. That's the thing. It's like,
Speaking of people watching things for the wrong reasons, totally off topic here, by the way,
Yeah, I
everybody.
know. I'm
So
sorry.
the Mackinac Policy Conference, WTV or Channel 56 does their
Right.
coverage up there, and they do it in that room where they're having the big dessert table and all this kind of
Right.
stuff. And I found out that
porch room, yeah.
a couple of women that I know were watching solely to watch these other women scarf down the desserts, not realizing they were on camera the whole time. Look at her, she's eating that dessert. Oh, she's going for another piece of cake. It's like, and I'm not sure that's exactly why Channel 56 sets this up. I don't
No.
think that's the viewing that they were looking for.
It is
but
always interesting.
I was told that secret. Oh, we watch it all the time because we watch people like
We wanna
boozing.
watch- we
There's
wanna-
like the shot luge back there and the
Oh,
dessert
yeah,
table, and they're
that's
watching people
insane.
pig out on
And in the
TV.
morning, you'll see me in the background getting bacon.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. They do have. That's right. There's a table of bacon waiting for people
Yeah,
there every
they
morning.
do.
A
so.
bacon table?
Oh yeah.
You know, they take care of us.
Gotta get up
Gotta
there.
get up
really
there.
do.
Yeah, gotta get up
It's
there.
a serious business conference.
It's
Yes, it is.
insane.
Absolutely,
I've
it is.
heard about it.
All right,
Been
well,
there once.
It costs a fortune, but it's worth it.
We've got to take a break here in just a couple of minutes. Yeah, so you know what? We're going to get the lame duck in just a couple of minutes here because the Republicans are very, very busy in Lansing right now. And for those of you working minimum wage, we've got some news for you about that one that you're going to want to talk about because, boy, those good-hearted people taking this up so they could make sure that it got shepherded through in the proper way, just the way that all of you who signed the petition thought it would go. No, not exactly. So we'll talk about that after a break. This is the Friday Follies. I'm Craig Folly. Stay with me.
I'm Jackie Callan, co-host of Accent Your Beauty with Dr. Mark Berkowitz, a champion of cosmetic surgery. And he doesn't have to knock anyone out. He just makes you a knockout. Right, Doc?
That's right, Jackie. Come to me and I'll knock out wrinkles, I'll knock out fat, and I'll knock out aging. And watch us on New Radio Media, Accent Your Beauty, Wednesdays at 7.
How much you want to bet that 70 episodes turns into 9 seasons of the very last joke on the show is Rick getting his Szechuan sauce.
Hey, Morty, I got the Szechuan sauce!
We're at C2E2 with the legendary Chris Claremont.
Greetings, my fellow geeks. My name is Jordan Trevelyan, and this is Get It to the Geeks. Here we go. We are here with David Yost, the original Blue Power Ranger.
Nobody promised you when you bought the thing on PS4 that you could play it on Switch. I mean,
I'm sorry, but your excuse is garbage.
I'm glad you're back.
This is where the game goes out of control.
And I'm gonna pull out my crossbow and shoot for one of the Sturges on Seraph.
Who? What? All right, sweet chainmail armor. Let's see what you got. The arrow just kind of whizzes over the Sturge. Scotty! Not the other direction. Yeah, no, I'm totally a sharpshooter. Womp.
It's all about you, and that's the way we like it.
Where you're going.
What you do to stay fit.
What you're eating.
What you're thinking?
And how you're feeling. Join the conversation at newradiomedia.com's Lifestyles channel.
Stream the life you want to live.
It's all about you, and that's the way we like it.
Where you're going.
What you do to stay fit.
What you're eating.
What you're thinking?
And how you're feeling. Join the conversation at newradiomedia.com's Lifestyles channel.
Stream the life you want to live.
Hey, welcome to the Friday Follies. I'm Craig Folly. I've got 3 wonderful panelists for our weekly Trek. Weekly Trekko fun, I guess we'll call it. Dave Frassetto is here with me once again. Thank you very much. Chato Hill is here, and Nancy Derringer. Thank you all for being here. All right, let's talk about what's going on in Lansing.
Okay.
Now, color me cynical, but Chato, I do believe you and I had a conversation about what was going to happen when the legislature decided that they wanted to take up the minimum wage bill that voters were going to put on the ballot. One, we knew they didn't want people going to the polls to vote for it. They already had enough going against them this cycle at all. Right. So they said, oh, we'll take care of it. Well, here's what they have done. $12 an hour is what was going to be on the ballot, and that would have been something that would have been effective pretty much immediately. But no, now they want to push that back to 2030. That is a full 11 years from right now to get to $12 an hour for the minimum wage, which is at what, $9 or something?
Sure.
So $3 an hour. I'm sorry, but they are trying to screw over minimum wage workers. There is no other way to put this.
That is not a secret. But what they did was not a secret. I mean, this is exactly why they did it. And why did they do it? Because if the thing had been adopted, or if it had been passed, at the ballot box, they would need a 3/4 in both chambers supermajority to amend it.
Yep.
By adopting it, They only needed a simple majority.
Yeah.
I mean, this is gamesmanship, okay? I mean, you can say it's, it's nasty, it's dirty, whatever.
It is nasty and it is dirty. It's this is scummy stuff. This is
nasty
This is
and dirty.
scummy Lansing
It is
stuff.
nasty.
Every lame duck session has stuff like this that goes on.
lame duck
Because of term limits, you have a bunch of people that face absolutely zero penalty for
Right.
screwing people over, which is what they are doing in this.
Sure.
This got a ton of signatures. It would have passed by double digits the way that pot did and the way that voters, not politicians, did. It would have passed.
Yeah, probably so.
And they don't like it. Obviously,
They
I
insert-
understand tweaking the wages for tipped workers, right? I could maybe see them working that in a little bit. You of course, have been in that industry for a long time. I could see them maybe making some changes there, or maybe making some changes to the Sick Leave Act, but now exempting any company with less than 50 employees from having to give sick leave.
Lansing
This
Republicans
is scummy.
speak for and
Scummy.
answer to the business community. And I believe at the time they adopted this, they said, we'll work on it later to make it more, palatable to the business community. So this is what they're doing. Now,
Palatable.
there is a question.
They're exempting the business community from dealing with it. They're basically eliminating this. Any company with more than 50 employees is already offering sick leave to their people.
Right.
And any company worth their salt is, they're not. This is bad. This is basically just making sure that minimum wage jobs stay minimum wage.
And the will of the people is ignored.
It's
Well,
the ongoing
and-
war on the poor. It's been what America
And
has.
there's also
Mel
there's
Brooks
also,
said it best. Screw the poor. Remember that scene in History of the World?
There's also a very credible legal threat to this strategy as well. And I believe that Mark Brewer has already announced that he intends to sue.
Well, there's a question as to
Yeah,
whether or not they can amend in the same calendar year that they do the that it would have been on the ballot.
Right,
And
sure.
so there's going
Right.
to be a battle on
And
this.
there's Snyder's got a role to play in all this too. So we'll see what he does. But
He could veto it.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
he's a lame duck too, and he has never been.
A friend of the worker?
No, but he's also never been a.
Yeah, that's what other things we come up with.
He's
on this
never
one.
been as conservative as the people that he had to work with.
But at the same
That's
time,
true.
he
Or
also
so I am told.
Look, one of my
he did
critiques
medic games,
of him, and I'm hopefully going to be interviewing him in a couple of weeks as he gets ready to leave office. Something I'm working on right now. But one of my critiques, and I will ask him about this, has been his unwillingness to stand up for people when it comes to things like right to work, stand up to the worst impulses of his party, and some of the social bills that have come out there, some of the really bad business bills. Would he be willing to do it? Even if he campaigned against, well, I'm not in favor of that, they shouldn't do that, but I guess I'll sign it anyway. Does he have the guts to stand up to his party if they do this? Because 2030 for $12 an hour is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Minimum wage is not a living wage, not even close.
Not even close.
And $12 an hour is not a living wage.
No.
And you're not cynical, Craig, because when you predict something and you say, I might be cynical, and then it happens exactly like you said it would, that's just truth. It's not
Yeah, it's not-
cynicism.
it's- It's okay.
That's who they are.
It's okay.
They are who
All
we
you're
thought they
doing
were.
is telling them.
They are who we thought they were. Well, how about this one? What about the move to create this new committee?
Yeah.
What is it?
They're trying to cut the legs off of, it sounds like here anyway, Jocelyn Benson and Dana Nessel.
Dana Nessel.
Right.
Absolutely.
What's this committee?
Oh, I got to get the name of it. I had it up here. Hold on a second. I'll find it real quick.
I don't
because
know if
it's
they
a really,
gave it a formal name. It's
Yes,
just it's
well,
an oversight.
they did. They did give it a formal name. They
Okay.
were going to call it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Is this some lame duck thing?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
another
This is
lame
more
duck
lame
thing.
duck
This all
stuff.
happened yesterday. The minimum wage stuff was Wednesday.
The newly proposed, quote, Fair Political Practices Commission.
That's it.
The Fair Political Practices Commission, the FPPC,
Yeah.
which would basically mean the legislature could stick its nose into what things the Attorney General would sue on or would not sue on.
Right.
And would also get involved in the election oversight process that traditionally has been in the Secretary of State's hands.
Yes.
Because God forbid we let the Democrats win an election and actually have the power that goes with the offices they want.
Yes,
I
that
mean,
people voted for.
That people,
This is well.
if
First
they
of
were
all,
so
I mean,
concerned, why didn't they do this when they had those people in power before?
Well, because, obviously that's not what this is about. I mean,
Yeah.
this is tribalism.
This is Oakland County again.
This is tribalism.
When they changed the
It's-
county
it's
commission
like-
because the
it's like
Democrats won.
They're
Remember
playing
that?
Calvin ball. Remember Calvin ball? It's like the rules change all the time. I mean, that's what's going on here. It's Calvin ball. However, I think again, I believe there's probably a pretty good chance that this may not I mean, that this would
And
not
that sounds like something
withstand a
Snyder
legal
would,
challenge.
Snyder would say,
Right. I mean, because it seems to
that,
directly violate
that's just
separation
gone
of
too far.
powers. It seems.
What's
I
it
mean,
called?
the whole idea of
The
Fair Political Practices Commission. Meaning the Republican-controlled legislature would get to dictate to Dana Nessel and Jocelyn Benson what they can and cannot do on their freaking job.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's
basically.
what this is.
Yeah.
And this is just what we need because,
Yeah.
Sounds
Well,
like a great
it's two
idea.
more. It's 2 more years until the next census, followed by the next redistricting. During which this commission,
that actually is fair.
Yeah.
They
Well,
didn't like
or
that.
Fair, I don't even want to say fair. Fairer.
Fairer,
than it
yeah.
is now. Yeah, fairer. And they're, I mean, they're when you're drowning. You don't go, excuse me, sir, could you please throw me one of those life rafts? I mean, you're clawing for things, and I think that's what a lot of these guys feel like.
Well, this happened in North Carolina 2 years ago.
This happened exactly. I was
When
just
the
gonna bring that
governor
up.
was a Democratic governor was elected, immediately in lame duck they went in to pass laws that would limit his power.
Well, and make it so he couldn't appoint Supreme Court justices.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we
Yeah.
didn't do a vote
Yeah.
kind of thing like they do.
Because
in
that's
Michigan.
never been,
Yeah.
the executives.
Like I said, I go back to Oakland County. It's the first time I saw something this blatantly partisan.
2011?
Yeah.
12? Yeah.
Remember when they
Remember that,
rewrote the commission lines? Democrats won a majority in the commission, so they just basically passed a law in Lansing, got one of their lackeys in Lansing to pass a bill, and it got signed into law that recreated the districts for the commission, shrunk it, so that the Republicans would maintain control.
Right.
And I asked the guy that passed the bill, why are you doing this? This is the most nakedly partisan thing I've ever seen. He goes,
Fair
yeah,
political
because
practices.
I don't like Democrats. They shouldn't be in charge.
Right.
They won the election. I'm sorry. But if you want us to sit there and think that you're not moving towards a dictatorship, quit doing crap like this. It's not right.
Elections.
You lose sometimes. Sometimes you lose elections. And when you lose elections, it's usually because your message or your policies suck.
Yeah.
People don't like it.
They don't care.
Things change.
They don't care.
No, they should care. People
do.
should
They
care about
absolutely
this.
should care.
And the fact that there has not really been even much outrage over this, other than the fact that there's a couple of leaders in the House in
Yeah.
Lansing saying this is a bad idea,
Right.
or Democratic leaders, I should say. The fact is, this should be getting played nationally. This kind of crap sucks.
Yeah.
I agree.
So forgive me, I seem a little outraged today.
You are
You
very
are. This is
outraged.
not the Friday Files. This is the Friday
This is
outrage.
the Friday rant.
The Friday rant,
firestorm.
No, but see, I tell people on this show every single day that you should be paying attention to what happens in Lansing. Because
Absolutely.
everybody pays attention to Trump because it's fun,
Right.
and national stuff, what's going on with, with Russia and things like that. But where they really get you is the stuff that they do in Lansing. That's the stuff that affects your bottom line, that affects the way you live your life every day, whether or not we actually have roads that you can drive on, whether your car insurance costs $18 gazillion.
Well, and part of this is also
whether
a failure.
your vote is counted.
It's also a failure of the news media.
Or
I mean,
allowed.
yeah, we cover these stories, we do, but you turn on cable news at night. I cut the cord a couple of years ago, but you turn on and it's all Trump all the time. It's the 24-hour Trump news cycle. And it's like, and so, when people talk about, well, this last election was really, it brought national issues down to, practically the city council district footprint. It's true, but it's because that's all, it's like, he's just in your face all the time. You can't get him out of there. And so you have to kind of like push that aside and say, hey, what's going on in the state legislature? Because you're absolutely right. That has far more daily effect on your life. But it takes effort, and people just are exhausted.
Yeah, you'd have to buy the paper. Or you'd have to buy.
Well, the paper's free if you have an internet, if you have a phone.
The show is free.
The show is free. I
have Lansing reporters on a couple of days every single week to talk about what's going on, and I'm working on some other things that I'm going to do that be like a weekly update that I think we need to do. Here's your roundup from Lansing because and not just the horse race stuff, and not just like, hey, look who I get to interview this week.
No.
We're not going to do the show the same way that those shows have been done for a long time. It's going to be real discussion about the stuff that's on the agenda, like I used to do when I worked covering the Capitol.
How caucuses work, how all that stuff happens. I mean, there's like a desperate need for more civics education. in this
Absolutely,
country.
because guess what? People are out there and they're doing things that are going to impact you every single day.
I'm
This kind of
designating
stuff.
you as the person who is going to bring this news and these updates every week. So
look for a new podcast.
Everyone who's on Craig's podcast and all that, all his sources.
Well, look
Be
for
watching
a new
for
podcast.
this.
I'm going to be doing a Lansing-based podcast because I think it matters, and I'm ticked off. I just, I'm going to discuss this. There's going to be a lot of changes coming, and we've got to do it. And I've got a lot of partners that want to help me with it. So
Good.
anyway,
Good.
that's just another thing I'm going to be doing. So if you wonder what I'm doing.
Okay.
All right. Did we take a break yet? We'll take a break because I don't have enough time to get into Carmack, but I do want to talk about the weird press conference that we had yesterday. Is it yesterday or Wednesday?
Wednesday.
It was
Yeah,
Wednesday.
it was Wednesday.
I didn't go. But
you were the only one who didn't.
I don't go to press conferences anymore. I let you guys do that kind of stuff. I did that for many years.
Yeah.
And sitting in a cold warehouse didn't seem like a great idea at the time.
I know, although there was food. So anyway,
you were able to miss the bombshell just like everybody that was there.
Doesn't that violate journalistic protocols and ethics to take food from a guy having a press conference?
we can talk about this.
Yeah, we can. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the Friday Follies here on radiomedia.com. I'm Craig. I'm going to take a deep breath and calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a tad because I'm off the deep end today, and I apologize.
Too much coffee, man.
Back with the Friday firestorm.
Not enough coffee. I'm a little imbalanced today when it comes to my outrage levels. All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us, please.
I'm Jackie Callan, co-host of Accent Your Beauty with Dr. Mark Berkowitz, a champion of cosmetic surgery, and he doesn't have to knock anyone out. He just makes you a knockout. Right, Doc?
That's right, Jackie. Come to me and I'll knock out wrinkles, I'll knock out fat, and I'll knock out aging. And watch us on new radio media, Accent Your Beauty, Wednesdays at 7.
How much you want to bet that 70 episodes turns into 9 seasons of the very last joke on the show is Rick getting his Szechuan sauce.
Hey, Morty, I got the Szechuan sauce! We're at C2E2 with the legendary Chris Claremont.
Greetings, my fellow geeks. My name is Jordan Trevelyan, and this is Get It to the Geeks. Here we go. We are here with David Yost, the original blue Power Ranger.
Nobody promised you when you bought the thing on PS4 that you could play it on Switch. I mean,
I'm sorry, but your excuse is garbage.
I'm glad you're back. This is where the game goes out of control.
And I'm gonna pull out my crossbow and shoot for one of the Sturges on Seraph.
Who? What? All right, sweet chainmail armor. Let's see what you got. The arrow just kind of whizzes over the Sturge. Scotty! Not the other direction. Yeah, no, I'm totally a sharpshooter. Wow.
It's all about you, and that's the way we like it.
Where you're going.
What you do to stay fit.
What you're eating.
What you're thinking.
And how you're feeling. Join the conversation at newradiomedia.com's Lifestyles channel.
Stream the life you want to live.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Friday Follies here on newradiomedia.com. Tony and Alana, everything going okay over there?
Yeah.
Excellent. They're doing a fantastic job. They are laughing, which is a good thing. I've got Nancy Derringer here today from Deadline Detroit.
That's right.
I've got Chateau Hill here, man about town, and of course Dave Frassetto, owner of the soon-to-open Lexington in the Woodbridge neighborhood. Congratulations, my friend. I know the work is
You
continuing.
need to change
get
your
close.
title to Boulevardier. You know,
Ooh,
I like that.
Ooh,
Man
that
about
is nice.
town.
There's even a drink named after that.
Yeah, there
Well,
we go.
he's very fond
I'll
of
drink
all
to that.
things French, so, that works. All right, so let's talk about this. This is some local news here, and I can't get too much into it because old jobs, stuff like that. But this guy, Bob Carmack, who's been following the mayor around, had a private detective following around, had a press conference the other day in which he was guaranteeing dirt on Mayor Duggan.
He didn't actually guarantee,
Well,
but
juicy,
he basically
said juicy stuff.
Yeah,
he
he
lured
said
you
it was
guys
good
in.
stuff, and he had the entire. I mean, if a bomb had dropped on that bump shop that during that hour,
The media would have been gone.
We would, nobody would have put the paper out the next day. Anyway, yeah, it was. He said it would be hot stuff, and
Hot stuff.
Instead, they hit play on the video, and it's like a city council meeting.
Wait.
And then it's like another city council.
For some of us,
meeting,
that
and
is
then
hot
it's
stuff.
Another
come on
city
now.
council meeting. I know exactly.
And old city council meetings from days gone by. These
Yeah.
were from what, 2010 or something like that?
No, they're from 16, 15.
Oh, okay, so
yeah,
then-
for the most part.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
And what were
Brenda
they
was
were-
there.
It was about his
property?
quest to
Build some condos
to build,
in the marina in Delray.
exactly, to buy and develop a riverfront parcel in Delray, which is adjacent to Old Fort Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he thought it was just a place to put a luxury marina and condo complex in.
Because?
Now, I think the thing that has been practically noted by almost nobody, although he had a great name for it, Marina Del Rey, which is hilarious, is
That's pretty good.
who buys a luxury condo in Delray? I mean, you know, it's like, oh, downwind from the sewage treatment plant. You know,
Zug
it's like, I mean,
Beautiful
you know,
views
it's
of
like
Zug
Zug
Island.
Island, exactly.
Beautiful views of the new bridge that's coming through. Truck traffic. It's going to be outstanding.
How much money does this guy have?
He's got about
Well, he has got a bunch because
because
he sold the property that
But
he
then
didn't
there was
own,
but so
apparently.
he said that he put all this money into it, and the city kind of led him along. And of course, this is covering 4 different mayors.
Yeah.
And you know, they kept jerking around. Then suddenly he lost it after he claims he had sunk $250,000 into pre-development costs. Okay. Then shortly thereafter that, he said someone sent him a deed to a nearby piece of property. And he thought that was his consolation prize for having lost the big piece. And he ended up selling it for $1 million. And the city sued him because they said he had no right to the deed.
Yeah.
So that's the basis of this.
It was a deed that was made in error.
This
Well, not in error, but
jihad.
before the deal was ever consummated.
Exactly.
And
but when
it's-
you're dealing, but this
Where did the
dispute,
deed come from?
The city. This dispute spans, like I said, 4 mayors, a bankruptcy. I mean, who knows what went out of the building during the last days of the Kwame administration?
I want to ask you a little bit about the press conference
Sure.
itself, because
the
he
press
shows
series
this old
itself
stuff.
is wild.
It kind of, they turned on him a little bit,
yeah,
didn't
they
they?
definitely turned on him. I mean, you know, all these people are down here waiting, and you know, we were having discussions at Deadline about, you know,
You guys start throwing tomatoes or what?
Well, no. He's like, what if he shows video of this woman? It's like, and we're doing a Facebook Live. Do we have to mask out her face? You know, and all this stuff. Yeah. And instead, it's like, you know, it's the same. It's Gabe Leland at the city council meeting. We didn't have to mask out his face. Anyway, they didn't throw tomatoes at him. But they were not very kind. I mean, I'd say the questioning was not quite hostile, but it was definitely
What do you think,
peevish.
like, you know, people like M.L. Elric and Charlie LaDuff throwing barbs your way, and,
Well,
and those
Elric-
guys are both kind of funny, and they're
Yeah,
probably...
I know. And Elric was probably the best of all. I mean, he was the kindest of all. I mean, he was... The other thing he did was he put up this giant banner with like 4 city players on it with Duggan's picture at the top.
So Buzz Thomas was on there?
Yeah, and he had like a little cutout of the skyline, and then it said Rico.
Yeah.
You know, and so he's like, that's pretty.
Suave.
That is a pretty powerful.
bold
Yeah,
claim.
exactly. You know, implication here. And so Elric is like, well, what? Tell us about this banner. You know, and just blah, 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 you know. So it was a. For a guy who had professional PR people on site, let's just say it was not a well-run thing. And then they were really pushing him, like, where's this dirt that you promised us? And he's like, well, maybe next week. So he's like the boy who cried dirt, basically.
Well,
you know?
I mean, look, you got Ken Rogalski from WJR freaking out on you,
right.
or even Kurtzner, I can see, because that's his, you know, he's like the
that's his
muckraker
thing.
guy at
Yeah,
Channel 7.
right.
But, you know, you don't typically see WJR reporters really digging into
No,
the
I
kill.
know.
Not because they're bad at their job. That's not what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's just not their style, typically.
So he's like, where's all this hot stuff? And he goes, well, corruption. You just saw it, corruption on these, you know, interminable. And he says it's a city council meeting. It was great. But the food, you know, you brought up the food. We were talking about the food. He had a whole catered lunch, 2 boxes of Dunkin' Donuts, you know, dishes of candy on these tables.
Was he expecting police?
Like, I don't know. That's a good question. But I mean, I was like, I'm not going to touch this stuff. I mean, you just don't do that, right?
That's right.
As this thing dragged on and on, I was getting really hungry. So I did snag a donut on my way out the door, and so did Violet. So now, that's my compromise. I'm laying cards on the table.
But this thing has been kind of weird, and like I
It's
said, I
very
can't
weird.
really get into it for a couple of different reasons, or some
Right.
ethical reasons and all that kind of stuff, but I'm still watching it. I was like, where's this going?
Everybody's watching it. I
Where
mean,
is this going?
he's using the fat, juicy worm of maybe some philandering by the mayor to bring people into what is frankly just a story about records and deeds and that kind of thing.
Potential fraud.
Potential fraud, exactly.
Doesn't it sound like the city screwed up though? How does he end up with this deed?
Somebody,
You know, there's a story behind that too that I can't really get into. Sorry.
Okay.
That I wish I could, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
But, anyway, so
right.
I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with
Yeah.
that. But
Anyway, it was certainly the highlight of my week professionally. Yeah.
Yes, this
Yeah,
couple hours you won't get
press
back.
conference, the press conference or the donut?
The donut for sure. It was very good.
Well, hey, look, somebody's now going to be in the history books for
Who's
maybe
that?
the shortest tenure in Congress ever.
Oh, brilliant.
And that would be our city council president, who gets to keep Paul Ryan. Thanks, Paul Ryan, allowing her to do one job while doing the other.
Yeah, double
So
dip.
she's going to get a chance to do this for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
What will be her lasting legacy in Congress?
You're looking at me?
I was asking, does she get any
I don't think
benefits?
there's a pension that comes with
there's
this.
no pension for a 2-week term.
No, there was no pension either for the reindeer farmer because he wasn't in there long enough for that term.
How many
So,
terms do you have to be in to get a pension?
I think it's just one full to get eligible for something.
For something, yeah, I don't.
But
and Kerry was he not in for a whole full
I
term?
don't think so. Remember?
That's right.
Special election.
It was because he
Gary
replaced
Bentivoglio.
the bald guitar playing guy.
That would be the eagle from the Muppets.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
Thad McCotter.
Yeah, Thaddeus McCotter, exactly. Yeah, Thaddeus McCotter.
Another great example of another great.
He's actually a
career.
really interesting guy.
Oh no, he was.
He was smart as hell,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty funny to talk to.
Smart as hell, pretty funny, and then did this one of the dumbest,
Don't Photoshop your signatures onto your stuff. Don't have your staff Photoshop the signatures onto your petitions.
Don't write a script for a TV pilot in your office on taxpayer time.
Well, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
That's
that was
right.
a good one. Yeah.
Did it ever get produced?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, that's right. Coachella
I don't think it was the West Wing. It was.
The West Wing. May it please the House.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it. But yeah, he was the rock and roll congressman from Livonia.
Yeah.
He was an interesting guy. I forgot about that. But
He's
yeah, always
yeah.
one of the better interviews, just because he was a smart guy and he'd pull out, he was like John Dingell in that regard. He'd pull out something. Well, in the Treaty of Ghent, he's something
He
like
has,
that.
doesn't he? He also has this kind of Baroque vocabulary that he likes to call upon. It's almost Victorian.
That would be Baroque, not broke.
Baroque, yeah.
Baroque.
Right.
Baroque. All right, so what do we do now? Where do we go on this one?
Florida's always a safe bet.
I found 3 good Florida stories.
Or Buenos Aires.
3 good, new NAFTA. By the way, real fast. New agreement signed, and I love the fact
it's the
that
USM.
No, it's not.
I keep thinking
No,
it's the
not.
Marine Corps. It looks like USMC.
According to Prime Minister Ken from Canada, Prime Minister Kendall, he called it the North American Free Trade Agreement, the new North American Free Trade Agreement, just a stick it for him just a little bit.
The NAFTA-ing. The North American Free Trade to
But none of them.
the NAFTA-ing.
None of them brought their Sharpies like Trump did. Trump brought his
and his
Sharpie, so his signature.
His weird
could be.
signature.
All right, why don't we go to Florida? I've got
All right,
3
let's go
good
to
Florida
Florida. It's
stories
cold
here
and
because
dreary outside.
it wouldn't be the Friday Follies if Florida was not involved. So we could just call it the Florida Follies.
Florida
I mean, why not?
What's happening in
Are we
Florida?
going to the fart story yet? Okay, I'm sorry. That
was a good one.
That was a good.
But let's go with the dumb criminal story first.
Okay.
Well, she's a dumb criminal too, so we'll get to that in just a little bit.
Okay.
There's a guy who was suspected in the murder of a girl back in 1984, and swears he had nothing to do with it.
Me?
But the same guy has this woman's name and the year she died tattooed on his back.
Oh!
I didn't kill her, but you have her name and the year that you killed her
on her
tattooed on your back, like
Also,
a notch on your belt.
Not as damning as the DNA evidence that says he did it.
Yes, that's there too. But he's like, no, that was just a joke. That was a jailhouse tattoo joke.
Oh, jailhouse.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, that's how we do.
But the police are like, yeah, you've got her name and the year that she died tattooed on your back because we all have tattoos. I don't have any tattoos.
I have no
That's the first thing
tattoos.
I get is some random murder victim and the year that she died
Does
or
he
he died
claim he
tattooed on my
didn't
back.
even know her?
He lived next door to her.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The rule of tattooing, which any tattoo artist will tell you, is never get a person's name on your body. Because first of all, if it's a relationship, a romantic relationship is the kiss of death, you're getting divorced. If it's, you can get mother, Jesus, something like that, but definitely not like a murder victim.
Well, so what happened?
I shouldn't laugh.
I didn't get to read the story. What happened to him?
Yeah, what happened?
Did the cops come and did they see it in the what?
Well, see, he's on trial for her murder. They've got DNA evidence finally. He was
so
there.
they've got DNA evidence
They've
from
been
something
after
30
this
years
guy for a
ago.
long time. He's been in jail for other stuff. This is not a witness. This guy's not a winner in any way.
68
shape, or form.
IQ.
You know, he's done a bunch of things, but so they introduced the pictures of trial. His back was covered in tattoos, and he's got some new ones. Of course, the Bible verses on the arms, which is important if you're a murderer.
Yeah.
You know, you get right with God at some point, apparently. But yeah, the prosecutors asked him about her name, 1984, tattooed on his back. So, in his lower back, He just said, hey, some fellow inmates have been touching up one another's ink when someone put the name there without his knowledge. Because last thing I checked, last time I checked, you don't notice when you're getting a tattoo? I've heard that hurts a lot.
He said that they were touching it up.
Not on your
but you
back.
can't see it, what he was doing.
Was he holding a mirror back there going, guys, you got it backwards?
I want it in Times Roman.
The font is all wrong. All wrong. Yeah, so anyway, that's not a good way to give yourself away for a murder.
Okay.
Okay, this is another great Florida story. And they're all violent, unfortunately. I apologize for the level of violence in these stories.
Idiocy and violence go hand in hand.
There's a man who was arrested in Florida. He attacked a woman and stabbed her in the head with a fork.
Okay.
Because she undercooked his potato.
So he stabbed her potato.
He stabbed her, Mrs. Potato.
Right in the potato.
A new thing. 36-year-old Kenneth Crumpton, lovely individual. Yes, stabbed her because the potato was undercooked.
Undercooked. Well, that's very frustrating when you're hungry. You know, you want to throw that ketchup, sour cream, butter, whatever your potato jam is, and get right to it. And you know, the thing's either cold, hard, disgusting. You can't do it.
Well, she basically had
One
fork
of these
wounds in her
days,
head. She was
Alice!
bleeding. He was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can kill somebody with a fork.
Absolutely good.
If you're good enough at it.
But my favorite part is the guy basically said, no, that's not what happened at all. I just threw it at her really hard and it glanced off her head.
8 times.
Yeah.
But I mean, if there's anything, I mean, would it be? Is an undercooked potato
I don't know.
an offense that requires the death penalty? I'm not sure.
In Florida?
In Florida?
Yes.
There are a lot of things that people.
Is there something they could do to your food that would make you actually consider stabbing somebody with a fork?
The pizza spitter at Comerica, definitely. That guy, oh man, if I had seen that, whew, you know, I'd be chasing him with a knife.
See, if you're
the
talking
hell with
about,
a fork.
unfortunately, you'd only have a spork at your disposal.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much damage those
You
can
put
do.
ketchup on my pasty and I will kill you.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take a break. Got a few more stories. Florida, we love you. Don't go changing. This is the Friday Follies. I'm Craig. We'll be right back.
I'm Jackie Callan, co-host of Accent Your Beauty with Dr. Mark Berkowitz, a champion of cosmetic surgery. And he doesn't have to knock anyone out. He just makes you a knockout. Right, Doc?
That's right, Jackie. Come to me and I'll knock out wrinkles, I'll knock out fat, and I'll knock out aging. And watch us on new radio media, Accent Your Beauty, Wednesdays at 7.
How much you want to bet that 70 episodes turns into 9 seasons of the very last joke on the show is Rick getting his Szechuan sauce?
Hey, Morty, I got the Szechuan sauce! We're at C2E2 with the legendary Chris Claremont.
Greetings, my fellow geeks. My name is Jordan Trevelyan, and this is Get It to the Geeks. Here we go.
We are here with David Yost, the original Blue Power Ranger.
Nobody promised you when you bought the thing on PS4 that you could play it on Switch. I mean,
I'm sorry, but your excuse is garbage.
I'm glad you're back. This is where the game goes out of control.
And I'm gonna pull out my crossbow and shoot for one of the sturges on Seraph.
Who? What? All right, sweet chainmail armor. Let's see what you got. The arrow just kind of whizzes over the sturge.
Scotty!
Not the other direction. Yeah, no, I'm totally a sharpshooter. Womp.
It's all about you, and that's the way we like it.
Where you're going.
What you do to stay fit.
What you're eating.
What you're thinking?
And how you're feeling. Join the conversation at newradiomedia.com's Lifestyles channel.
Stream the life you want to live.
It's the Friday Follies here on newradiomedia.com. I'm Craig Fahle. Thanks for being with me today. Glad you could make it. We've got a few minutes left. And of course, Nancy Derringer is here from Deadline Detroit. Shadow Hill is here. Boulevardier. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
And Dave Rossetto, of course, is the owner of the soon-to-open Lexington.
And I
Soon
hope
to
one day
And the
be
Boulevardier
a
will
Boulevard.
be.
And by the way, the
We'll
Lexington,
be
just
there.
we let folks know, is over in the Woodbridge neighborhood, right there on Trumbull, right over by Pi Psi and all that good stuff.
So
Perfect.
when does it open?
That is the bazillion-dollar question.
Well, I mean,
It's a restaurant. It opens when it opens.
no, I understand that.
Isn't
I'm
that
going
the
to
way
call
that
a
it
press
works? Coming soon?
conference and have donuts and stuff when it's time to let you know.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Maybe next week.
Yeah.
Donuts.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that you'd give us some of the delicacies you're going to be
That's
offering
just at the
there.
press conference.
I'll promise the delicacies.
All right, so we're still in Florida here because I don't know why this story was funny. It just was, because the reaction from this woman is great. Look, everybody has passed gas in public by accident at some point in their life.
Sure.
It happens. It is a human function. It is one of those functions that we tend to find funnier than other bodily functions.
polite thing to
And
do
embarrassing
is
as all get out.
ignore it, right?
Ignore it, say, excuse me, move on, right? That's what happens.
It happens to everyone.
Now, apparently, there was a Dollar General store down in Broward County, which has been
Where
in the news
else?
a lot lately.
Sure.
Where else?
She's at the Dollar General standing in line, and of course, she then had to break wind, shall we say. Now, the guy behind her in line apparently was pretty ticked off about this and started arguing with the woman over a couple of different aspects of this. One, the volume. Second, apparently, the pungency. And so he was an offended customer, and he starts arguing with the woman. She pulls a knife and threatens to, quote, gut him.
Yes. Okay.
And thinking to myself, look, there by the grace of God go I. If you're this dude in line, okay, maybe it's gross, maybe it's disgusing. I know you don't like this lady.
turn and you go
Just
like
let
this.
it go.
You know,
Like,
yeah,
You
exactly.
can chuckle, I suppose,
You
or
turn
to
to the people
yourself.
behind you and you're like,
There are ways to react this.
You can chuckle, you can comment.
right, you don't want to get blamed.
You can say impressive, whatever you want to say. I mean, you could do
But
something.
From her
just
perspective, this is what I don't understand. I have always found that going with the he who smelt it dealt it defense is much better.
Yeah. That's just
You know? Why threaten a knife? Just blame it on him.
like, you denied it, supplied it.
Yeah!
And
It's
I have
tried
to
and true.
say, I did not notice until I looked at this story on I'd been looking at my phone. When I saw her picture blown up really big, she has 2 teardrop tattoos on
Yes,
her
she
face.
does.
Right, which means she's gutted at least 2 other men for saying
Or
the
she
same
wants
thing.
people to believe that she is.
Exactly. They're similar to the one that I got after I got kicked out of the mom swap on Facebook, the Grosse Pointe mom swap, and I cover it with makeup now. But,
You get kicked out, huh?
yeah, twice.
Wow. What are you doing? You're not
Mom
paying
swap.
for the stuff?
Bad to the bone. No. Never mind.
Mom swaps
Well, this is
are
a story I
dangerous.
must uncover.
They're a
Because,
dangerous
It's a
affair.
very interesting story, but we can't go into
yeah,
it.
no, I'm sorry. Getting kicked off a mom swap is pretty damn funny.
It is.
She's going to have to plead the fifth on that one.
Maybe
Here's my favorite part, though. My favorite part. She was arrested and charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Was it for the
Was
knife?
it the firearm
What was it for?
or the knife? Right.
Now, okay, one last thing that I want to run by all of you here, because I thought this was a really unfortunate headline, because I just don't think that this is right. This is from South Carolina. South Carolina man reportedly dies during game of Russian roulette.
Game.
Short game.
It's a game called suicide, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a game called Russian roulette.
Russian roulette.
It
Right.
can lead to suicide.
Yeah.
One
I don't think
chance in
anybody
6.
plays that unless they're actually seriously depressed.
Right.
This is not something you do unless somebody either forces you to, or you're actually
They called
contemplating
it, but
taking
they
your own
actually
life.
called it. Is your objection that they called it a game?
Yes.
Okay. Rather than what
Okay,
else
well,
would you call it?
a game would require
Well,
somebody
you would
playing.
have to say while playing Russian roulette. Playing implies game, or you could say during what, a round of
How about
Russian
this?
roulette?
Man commits suicide during Russian roulette.
That's better. But
Isn't that
you know,
fair?
You know who works in the media these days? It's like young kids that we drive like rented mules, and old farts that are just waiting, for their gold watch.
Waiting with their knives to gut somebody.
Exactly. And so sometimes these things happen. I try not to get too exercised over really stupid framing or bad wording or stupid headlines. It just happens.
I just think it's difficult to consider that a game because it's
definitely not a game.
Winning that game is not really possible.
A round.
Yeah.
A round of Russian roulette.
Yeah.
It could be, and that would be literal.
It would be literal twice at least.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we've got to wrap it up. This is the Friday Follies for this week. I would like to thank everybody for being here and putting up with my ranting today. It was not exactly the funniest day we've had, but you know what? Sometimes I just need to get some things off my chest.
And we did have the fart, and that's always funny. Farts are just.
We'll always have that.
Yeah,
exactly. We'll always have Manhattan.
Always have Florida.
Yeah.
That's right. Florida, thank you. The gift that keeps on giving throughout the year.
Always.
And I'm sure I'll have more next week. Next week, we'll do this again, everybody. Thank you very much. Look for a separate download of the Friday Follies. That's going to be available very, very soon. You can subscribe to that and subscribe to the podcast as well. Dave, thank you for being here. Chato, always a pleasure. And Nancy, we love having you here. Help me out, and I appreciate that very much. And I appreciate all of you. Have a great weekend, everybody.